What's up, people? It's your girl Adeola. By now, all African leaders should know that their citizens are being tortured in Saudi Arabia. You know, when the pandemic started, the Saudi government said that they were afraid that the immigrants among them, who are often housed in overcrowded conditions, would act as vectors for the virus. In other words, they believe that Africans would transmit the virus to them. Wow. Can you imagine that? Very similar to what African migrants faced in China, right? So within 10 days, Saudi deported thousands of Africans back to their countries. The deported Ethiopians alone were 3,000. They said that they didn't want Africans to give them coronavirus. Can you imagine? Now, according to a leaked UN memo, their plan was to deport 200,000 Africans. But when this memo leaked, there was international pressure on Saudi Arabia to stop unjustly deporting Africans. So they put a stop to the deportation. Instead, they started putting these Africans in detention centers. These were Africans who went to Saudi in search of greener pasture. Apparently, there are about 6.6 million migrant workers in the 7 Arab states bordering the Persian Gulf, that is Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The 6.6 million are not all Africans. Of course not. Many of them are from South Asia, but a large contingent are from the Horn of Africa, that is Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, Djibouti, and of course there are other Africans from Kenya, Nigeria, just to name a few. Many of these Africans do the low-paying jobs in Saudi Arabia, which are often physically demanding. Sometimes they don't even pay them for a long time. In fact, we've heard about stories of many domestic workers who may not be paid for months, even years, and they get beaten on top of it. They are enticed by the Saudi recruitment agencies. They promise them heaven, and then they get to Saudi Arabia and they find out that the story is not true. So when COVID-19 started, they basically put these Africans in detention centers that are not conducive for living. In fact, thousands of them have not been allowed to step outside their crowded facility for 5 months. They are dying of heat. Someone committed suicide at one of the detention centers. We don't know about the detention centers whether other people have committed suicide or not. Security guards are beating and torturing them. They are starving. They feed them 3 slices of bread and small water for the day at one of the detention centers. In another center, someone said that they add small rice for dinner in addition to the bread that they give them in the morning. There is no sanitation at those centers. The toilet is overflowing at every of the centers. It's overflowing into the sleeping area. One of the women's detention center that we saw the video online has a mesh roof. It's like net. So they get rained on and then it gets flooded, and you know, they're already overcrowded. So the overrunning toilet, you know, the toilet is already overrunning. That now mixes with the raining water that floods the space. And yes, these women are still having their periods in this kind of situation. Needless to say, they are treated worse than animals. Many of them have become suicidal. Some of them are now suffering from mental illness after living like that for 5 months. Many of them now have skin diseases, you know, from drinking whatever. You can Google it. Sorry that I can't show you because the pictures are too graphic. Despite all this, the security guards are beating them with whips and electric cords. You know, there's one quote that I saw in that report that made me cry. They said the guards mocked them, saying that your government doesn't care about you. So what are we supposed to do with you? Wow. I mean, isn't that right? I've talked several times about Saudi Arabia persuading my African brothers and sisters to stop going to Saudi Arabia in search of greener pastures. They don't see us as human beings. In fact, they don't even see us as animals. They see us as less than animals or as objects. So please stop going to Arab countries to look for jobs. But we won't have to face such treatment if our leaders in Africa would start caring about their people and provide basic amenities for their people. This is the time for African leaders to stand up for their citizens. Don't just ignore this inhumane treatment going on in Saudi Arabia. Don't blame the people that went there. If you were doing well as our leaders, they won't be going in thousands and millions. Having said that, whether our government are treating us well or not is not an excuse for Saudi to mistreat people. You know, it's like saying that if a child doesn't have caring parents, nobody else should care about the child. No, Arab countries are very wealthy. They treat their own people well. They treat other citizens well. Why are they not treating Africans well? Makes you wonder, where is the AU? Where is ECOWAS at a time like this? Africa needs to rescue its people. And if the government is not doing anything about this, all those rich Africans, those with private jets, this is your opportunity to show that you care. Even pastors with private jets, this is an opportunity to show the love of God. Try to rescue your citizens that are stranded in Saudi Arabia. Let me know what you guys think about this. You guys not do know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So, my Nigerian people, let us talk about CAMA. That is the Companies and Allied Matters Act in Nigeria. So many people have been saying that, Adola, why are you not talking about it? I was actually trying to avoid it. Because people don't always want to hear what I have to say about some things. So, but let me tell you what I think about it. Like many of you, I also have a problem with the CAMA bill. In fact, I have several problems with the bill. But before I tell you about the problems I have with the bill, I'm going to talk about a lot of things. I'm really sorry. So first of all, I understand why a lot of Nigerian Christians would see the CAMA bill as an attack on Christianity. Number one, we have a government that has not cared for people in Nigeria. A government that has allowed herdsmen from the president's ethnic group to kill thousands of people, to disable thousands of people, to displace hundreds of thousands of people. They allow them to take over their lands, and nothing has been done to these terrorists. In fact, Buhari refused to declare them as terrorists. Instead, this same government wanted to create Ruga for these terrorists. They wanted to create settlements for these herdsmen with schools and high-tech equipment on people's lands. Buhari's government wants to basically reward terrorists. So I get it why people are upset. We already have religious tension in Nigeria. Buhari is Muslim. But the problem is he has never cared about issues that are dear to Christians. At least he has not acted like it. So not just herdsmen taking lands and killing people. Even the killings in southern Kaduna. I'm not saying that only Christians have been killed. Buhari didn't care about what's happening in southern Kaduna. The Chibok girls, most of them are Christians. He didn't care about rescuing them, even though he promised that he would. Leah Shuaibu was not the only girl that was kidnapped when she was kidnapped, but she was the only Christian among those that were kidnapped. Consequently, the only one not released. And Buhari could care less. He hasn't showed that he cared at all. I mean, it's never about what someone says, because he says a lot of things, but he has never cared. He has never even been to her family to visit them. Again, if she were to be Buhari's daughter, like the one that got married this past weekend, he would have rescued her. So there is no way Christians in Nigeria can trust a government that doesn't care about their lives. There's no way they can trust Buhari's government, especially when the government is giving money to repentant terrorists and sending them abroad for education. I mean, how can they trust that kind of government? So you can't blame Christians. Unfortunately, our Christian vice president is just there. He has no power. I don't want to go into that, but he's just there. The number two reason why people see the CAMA bill as an attack on Christianity in Nigeria is because Buhari's government is corrupt. There's no way of saying it is a corrupt government. It came in with the promise of fighting corruption, but we now see that it's not only corrupt, but it's also selective in its fight against corruption. Once you're an APC member, you get away with anything. And this government has tried to censor social media, that's ridiculous, as well as media at large. It's during Buhari's time that snakes, monkeys, and all kinds of animals started swallowing money in Nigeria. So no one trusts Buhari's government, including those in charge of CAMA, this new bill. People are worried about what if those trying to regulate companies and NGOs are also corrupt. Who is going to police the police? The third reason people see CAMA as an attack on Christianity, and I'm really sorry for saying this, but is because many people didn't actually read the CAMA bill. They did not. Like, be honest. How many of you read the CAMA bill before voicing your opinion? How many of you actually read it? Okay, I get it. Many of you didn't read it because it's long. It's very long. It's 604 pages. So you come to your conclusion based solely on what your favorite pastor says about it because you trust the pastor. And there is nothing wrong with that. I mean, you cannot come and kill yourself trying to read 600 pages, you know. It's just that it's always advisable to look at something, to read about something, to understand something for yourself and make your own independent assessment. I'm not saying that your pastors are wrong. wrong. God forbid. I mean, who am I? I can never say anything like that. But just as it's always good and advisable to read your Bible for yourself and not just depend solely on what a pastor says, you should also read about everything else that a pastor talks about before you start abusing anybody. So like I said, it's 600 pages long, but you can find summaries of this bill online. You don't have to go by what I say in this video. Take 10 minutes after you're done watching this and read articles written about it or do your own research. So CAMA was first created in 1990, by the way. Babangida was the president at the time. In 1990, Nigeria formed an autonomous body charged with the responsibility of regulating the formation and management of companies. This is about formation and management of companies. This body works with the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria. They work with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, as well as the Nigerian Bar Association. So they're working with all these organizations. They want all of them to regulate companies. Before 1990, these activities were carried out under the Companies Act of 1968. It was amended in 2018, but Goodluck Jonathan did not sign it. So the new amendment under Buhari has both positive and negative sides, which I'm going to address. But please keep in mind that the CAMA bill was not made for the church. It was made to regulate the formation and management of companies, non-profits or charity organizations, NGOs. You know, the reason that some churches are concerned is because they register their churches as charity organizations. And one of the benefits of being a charity organization is you don't pay taxes to the government. It doesn't matter how much you make, you don't pay taxes. So I hope that that makes sense, because some people are addressing this as if they came out with a bill, they came out with a law to attack churches. No, they came out with a law on how companies should be formed and how they should be managed. But churches are concerned because churches register themselves as charity organizations, which is under this CAMA bill. Now, I'm not saying that churches are trying to escape paying taxes. So no, that's not what I'm saying. But if a church registers as a company or as a business and they are paying taxes to the government, this NGO regulatory part of the bill that people have problem with would not apply to them at all. It's just that they have to be paying taxes. So the law is actually for anybody that wants to set up a company in Nigeria. So you might want to know about this if you want to set up a company, a non-profit, a charity organization. And I would strongly advise you, if you are trying to start a company in Nigeria, to know how this law would affect you. Believe it or not, the amendment was actually to remove bureaucratic constraints to doing business in Nigeria so that people can easily start their businesses and grow their businesses. So some positive side of the bill includes the following. With this amendment, it's very easy for anybody to set up a business in Nigeria. Small businesses that are operating within the informal sector can incorporate their businesses by registering at the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, without having to employ a lawyer. You can do everything online now, which is amazing. In fact, you can now get NAFDAC approval online, as in they do the inspection via video online. I don't know if this has anything to do with CAMA, but getting NAFDAC approval online is amazing. In fact, they decided to give 80% discounts to encourage small businesses to register online for their NAFDAC approval. But the discount is just for 6 months, so don't get too excited. I think that ends at the end of October, but I'm not sure. Also, one person, so long as they're 18 and above, can now become a shareholder of a company because of this CAMA amendment. In the past, it has to be at least 2 people. Not just that, the amendment exempts small companies or any company with a single shareholder from having annual general meetings, and they no longer need to have their financial records audited. I mean, that's amazing. Although I still think that you should audit for your own record. You know, you should audit yourself for your own record, even if they are no longer asking for it. Not only that, companies no longer have to allocate or pay for shares that are not needed when they are incorporated. So these are just some of the advantages or some of the good things. There are a lot. Like I said, it's 600 pages. But there are also negative sides as well. I'm going to talk about a number of them. But the one that many people have issues with is the regulation of NGOs, charity organizations. The government says that there are many NGOs in Nigeria that are not doing what they said that they would do, and that they are embezzling money, using it for personal things instead of doing what they said that they would do, which is true. And of course, NGOs that are not embezzling money, NGOs that are transparent, they don't have to worry about about this. Churches register as NGOs, so that means churches are automatically included in the regulation of NGOs. By the way, there are so many churches that don't need to worry about this CAMA bill, even though I see some of their church members worrying about it. But churches where there is no one single person in charge of money, you know, like the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, the Apostolic Church, the CAC, Equa Church, Baptist Church, churches where power is decentralized, and churches that print their financial statement or have a meeting maybe at the end of the year to talk about how much came in, how much went out, you know, they don't need to worry about this. It looks to me like churches who have one person or one family in charge of money, and they don't want people knowing exactly how much is coming in and how the money is spent. I feel like they're the ones that have a problem with this aspect of the CAMA bill. But for some reason, these people are painting it as an attack on Christianity in order to stir people up in anger. And if people don't read what the law actually says, they just buy into it and they start abusing everybody. Having lived outside of Nigeria, I can tell you that it's not just Nigeria that tries to regulate charity organizations. They regulate charity organizations all over the world so that people don't misuse funds, so that people can be accountable. But I do understand that churches are included. Yes, people fight it in different parts of the world as well. Even in America, they fight it. But there are rules. In America, for example, the federal government, the IRS, that is the Internal Revenue Service that administers federal tax laws, they are the ones that regulate non-profits in America. Also, at the state level, the attorney generals of each state has oversight over the fundraising activities and other activities performed by charity organizations in their states, which is why in America there are so many churches you go to that you would see their financial statements posted on the wall every single month. I'm not saying that every single church does that in America, but so many churches do that. You walk in and you can see how much came in and how they spent the money. They just want their church members that are paying tithe and offering to see how much came in and exactly how the money is spent, which is what we call transparency. But this is not limited to America. I know Nigerian churches that would announce every Sunday during service, they will announce how much came in last week and how much went out. So where many people have a problem with CAMA, and I also do, is number one, giving power to the Corporate Affairs Commission, that is CAC, to replace the trustees of an NGO if an NGO is not doing what it said that it would do with their money. Now, while I think that NGOs should be made accountable so that the founder is not using the money for his or her own benefits, I don't think that the government should replace their trustees. What IRS does in America is, if you don't declare how much you made in a year, if a charity organization doesn't file taxes, then they fine them until they file. Even though charity organizations are not paying taxes in America, they still have to declare how much came in, which is what we call filing. So they have to file and declare, which brings me back to people's concern. If this government has not cared about what Christians in Nigeria care about, it's hard to trust the same government to appoint a trustee that will be trustworthy. That's why they see it as an attack on the church. Having said that, popular lawyer, that is Liberus Oshoma, broke it down for us that there are clauses. It's not as if the government can just replace trustees.
The trustees shall be suspended by an order of court upon the petition of the commission or members consisting 1/5, that's 20% of the association, and the petitioner shall present all reasonable evidence or such evidence as requested by the court in respect thereof. It is very clear and obvious that the commission cannot on its own sit down and suspend trustees without a court order.
Okay, thank you. I honestly, but you know, despite all these explanations, which I know are true, I still don't think that the CAC should have that power. So we should challenge that. Although in a situation where the founder makes his children or family members the trustee, or people that would never challenge him or her on how they are spending money, it may be a good idea to question that. But I still don't think that they should now appoint somebody for them. But if an NGO NGO has board members, trustees that are making the organization accountable, they have nothing to worry about. Please make sure that you watch the full interview of Liboros Oshoma. I'll put the link in the description below. He is really good. Another problem is CAMA criminalizes the informal sector. Like, what the heck? Like, there are at least 21 million Nigerians in the informal sector contributing to 65% of the country's GDP. That makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, there are so many things that are not right with this bill, but people are focusing solely on regulating NGOs because churches are under NGOs. And I wish that people showed up for the debate of the bill, because they always debate these things publicly. It would have been great if people were speaking out like this before they passed the bill. Also, a lot of people have criticized Redeemed General Overseer, that is Pastor Adeboye, for visiting Buhari on CAMA issue. They feel disappointed that he didn't visit about Boko Haram killings, herdsmen killings, schoolgirls kidnapped, lack of stable electricity, good roads or stable running water, and so on and so forth. But in Adeboye's defense, and I'm not a Redeemed member, you guys know that, I just like to stand with the truth. So in Adeboye's defense, first of all, that is not the first time that Adeboye visited Buhari. He visited Buhari at Aso Rock in February of 2016, and that is when this picture was taken. Also, he visited Buhari when he was receiving treatment in London in 2017, and that is when this picture was taken. It was all over the news at the time. We don't know what they talked about. Also, Adeboye had a Christmas concert at Aso Rock in 2017. I don't know if he met Buhari at that time or not, but I know that he went to Aso Rock for a Christmas concert. We don't really know why he went to see Buhari this time around, because he didn't say. He refused to talk to the press. Nigerians in general want our men of God with influence to speak out more about the situation of things and definitely visit Aso Villa, which is why I told you recently that I believe that the moment this men of God decide that enough is enough, that things will change in Nigeria. But you know what? At least he went there physically. Kudos to him for that. He's not cussing people out on his pulpit, you know. He went there. Now, having said all that, you don't have to agree with me. Actually, I look forward to reading your comments. Corridor is already getting ready for, you know, backlash. But I know that a lot of people are reasonable, you know, which is why we're talking about this. You guys already know that I don't know anything. In fact, I may be completely wrong with everything that I talked about. But I want to hear from you guys what you think about this CAMA bill. Not what your pastor thinks, by the way, but what you as a person thinks. I'm sorry, I don't know how else to put it, but I want like independent assessment from you guys. Also, do you think that churches should be more transparent or not? Do you think that churches should print their financial statement every month for people to know how the money is being spent and how much came in? And if you're not a Nigerian, is there any law that is regulating charity organizations, and what are the regulations on charity organizations in your country? So let me know in the comment section below. Once again, you guys not know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So before I sign out, huge shout out to Kimmy's Empire in Maryland for sending me this beautiful wig. Yeah, some of you didn't know it's not my hair. No, it's not. But it's a good protective style if you have natural hair like I do. This is for days that you don't want to wear your hair out. So please find them on Instagram. They deliver anywhere and everywhere in the US. It is owned by a Nigerian. So it comes with this really fancy bag that you can reuse for other things, or you can put the wig back in it for days that you're not using the wig, or if you're traveling, you can just put the wig in there. It's a really nice package. Plus, you get a hair bonnet for when you're going to bed at night. The inside is satin material, which is great, and a really nice package bag which you can use for other things, as well as Kimmy's Empire sticker. Thank you so much once again, Kimmy's Empire, for my beautiful hair. How do I look, guys? Let me know in the comment section. So this is their phone number, this is their Instagram page. Like I said, they will post it, they will mail it to where you are. Just so make sure that you contact them. You guys not know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Oh, by the way, how many of you are yet to subscribe? Like, I'm trying to see you from the Plasma TV. All right, y'all, it's been real, and I'm keeping it right up in here. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're yet to subscribe, we're watching you on Plasma TV. Press the subscribe button and the bell button. Until next time, I'm gonna see you all later. Peace out.